What's poppin'?
What's up, guys? We're back.
Back in the saddle.
Back again. Max and Ty. Tell a friend.
The bestest friends.
Guess who's back? Guess who's back? Week 11. Yes, we're back.
The Wilderness Whiskey Round Table, episode 11.
The numero once.
Ounce. We had to take another week off.
We did. My fault. Once again, could probably be pointed at my daughter bringing shit home, but
Ty had the little man flu.
it was more than a man flu this time. No, I was laid up. I slept for pretty much 2 whole days. Had all the fever, chills, all the frickin' nasty shit. And then it spiraled into like just a terrible cold after that, which was really weird. But
Yeah, your dad and Danny were sick too, aren't they?
yeah, both of them also had it. So
Seems that it might be the little one if that's the case.
right. So yeah, had to take a week off. I could not. I was really trying. I'm like, I'll take a nap. I'll just muddle through it. Maybe if I drink some whiskey, it'll make me feel better. But come like 7 o'clock that night, I was still pretty much immobile. So we had to skip a week. We apologize. Stick with us. We're going to make this. It's coming into summer, so there shouldn't be any more sicknesses, hopefully. But
Knock on wood, yeah.
yeah, right.
No, and I assume that you guys can understand. Like, life just throws some curveballs sometimes. We do our best to make it work. You know, we have busy schedules, and Wednesdays are the days that work. And if Wednesday doesn't work, we just have to figure it out.
Right. Yeah, so it's just we're just juggling balls, really. I mean, we're
Yeah.
always just kind of dodging balls.
That's all we can do. Big ball jugglers. We have a couple fans.
We do have a couple of fans.
No, there's one on the ceiling. There's a stand-up fan over there.
Yeah. Yep. We have a couple of admirers here for us. All right. Good luck.
Oh,
Oh, boy.
massaging seats. We should have done the podcast out there.
Oh, we should have done it in the car. Can we smoke cigars in there? Couple of yonders walking through the garage here. So, you know, we're
It's just a high traffic area.
we're
It
kind
is
of
what it is.
big deals. So,
Yeah,
you
you
know, I always got hoochie mamas walking through.
People just pop in, they see what we're up to, listen in for a while. You know, it's just a big revolving door here in the round table.
In the old round table garage here. In the rectangular round table garage.
But yeah, no, like I was saying, you know, life gets kind of crazy. Wednesdays are supposed to be our day, but if God forbid something happens on a Wednesday, we
Yeah.
either have to try to scramble and make it work another day, or you know, push her back, which is fine. It happens.
You've been working on the weekends. I've had the last couple weekends kind of working with some friends and
Yeah, some other odds and ends stuff.
right.
and-
Just I do kind of some renovation stuff on the side too, so it's
a little
we're
bit
just
of traveling for both of us too, and
Yeah.
it's tough.
yeah.
So,
You just got back from Canada for
We did.
what, 3 days?
3 days, yep, and we'll talk about that here a little later.
Yep.
So-
no, fishing opener's coming up here.
Right around the corner. It's this weekend already.
So that's freaking awesome. Excited about that. We can not accidentally catch, you know.
The things that we want to catch.
Yeah, we can purposely catch these things now. So
Well, everything except for bass. That's still a couple weeks out yet. So
I did catch a bass last week though.
on accident.
It was on accident, actually. I actually didn't expect it to be a bass when I was pulling it up.
No.
We
We did a little fishing last week.
Yeah, what was it? Tuesday we got out?
I think so. Yeah.
Still haven't gotten the boat out, but it's ready to rip finally.
It is ready. I think it's going to make its maiden voyage on Saturday, probably.
We're super
It might
hoping.
make it out a couple days here this week, even. We might do a little something for a
Well,
couple
then you
hours.
better shoot a guy a text.
Oh, yeah. I'm not going to do it by myself.
Okay, fair enough. I'm holding you to that because I haven't seen you in almost a whole month now, so.
It's been 2 weeks. Not even a full 2 weeks.
No, it's hardly 10 days, I think.
Yeah. Tuesday to today.
Jesus, that's 8 days.
Yeah, jeez.
God.
Going through withdrawals.
I'm just neglected here.
He's been sitting in a cold shower, wrapped up, just sweating it out.
Mostly crying, but it's fine. It's fine, really. I'm fine.
Here we are, though.
Here we are. No, so fishing opener's coming up. We noticed when we went out last Tuesday that the panfish seemed to be pushing up.
The panties are pushing down.
Panties down. Okay, that did take me a second, and I don't know why it took me a second, but
No, they're coming up shallow.
coming shallow. I don't love coming shallow, but I guess it's probably better than coming deep, huh?
That's true. That's probably how the little one happened.
You always think it's going to be fine, but sometimes they sneak around on you. So, no.
It's better than not coming at all. Let's
That's
just
true.
say that.
Yeah. Nobody wants, blue fishing boats? I don't know how you analogize that
Blue
into
boats.
fishing.
No blue boats here.
No blue boats. no blue buoys. So we got out. It was raining that day. We actually had pretty decent luck once it started raining hard.
Yeah, I think it rained. I mean, we fished for a while. We knew it was blowing in. I think we both had jackets and rain jackets and stuff. So we're like, fuck it. Like, we might as well. It wasn't like difficult. Like, it wasn't too crazy to fish in. So, like, it wasn't miserable. So, yeah, no, it was kind of fun. And yeah, it seemed that once it started coming down, they started biting a little bit more.
Yeah, and they were fairly aggressive. I think we each what did we pull?
4 or
like 5 fish
yeah.
between the two of us, and every single bite we had was aggressive. So that's always fun.
Yeah, just crushing it. I mean, they were hitting pretty hard, so they're obviously feeding up a little bit, which is nice. So we saw a handful of small panfish schools pushing up towards the docks and everything, and it was a good sign. So
Yeah,
it has been warmer, so that's been nice. Windy but warmer.
Yeah, and that rain was actually fairly warm that
Yes.
we were hanging out in. So
Yeah,
that makes a big difference too. And every time it rains, it's not dropping that lake temperature, so we're starting to see actual rises in temperature.
when we put the pontoon in the lake for the second time, there's a guy out there testing his motor, and he had a sonar unit on there that had temperature gauge off of the transducer, and he said 55, I believe is what he said.
And that was down right by us, wasn't it?
Yeah, that was just out on Elysian.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, so that's a good sign. They're gonna start pushing up with that temp now,
Yeah.
and so
Yeah, once you crack into the 50s, you start to see some uptick in aggressiveness and moving a little shallower. And
of course now as we're the boat is pretty much ready to go. Now they push up,
right,
because they
yeah,
couldn't have.
when we can catch them offshore now.
Yeah,
It's still nice to have the boat and be able to go wherever, and you're not limited to the couple docks on a lake, but
I would argue I'm fishing on a boat over the shoreline any day.
100%.
It's fine because you're fishing regardless. But if I had a choice,
Yeah,
I'm gonna
and I
do the
mean,
boat.
if I only have an hour or two to fish, and it might be inconvenient to load the boat, you can bet your ass I'm still going to go fish from shore.
Oh, yeah,
If you just don't have quite the time
Yeah.
to load and unload a boat and get that does take a little bit of your time up. So
I would argue though, like we last year, it was probably around this time because we had a really warm March. Last year or March, April last year, I think it was what it was, if I remembering right, because I think we were out on reeds last year.
it wasn't reeds.
No, you're right.
It was
whatever lake it was.
It was reeds. I was just being silly.
I know. I was trying to.
No,
I was trying
totally
to just,
not reeds. It was
No, see, it was Lake Nunya.
None of ya.
None of your fucking business.
Mind your own. I know that's why you guys listen to the podcast. Is you're
you're-
waiting for us to slip up and tell us
up.
where all our spots are.
No,
Moochers.
but this was
Find your
last
own.
year, so it doesn't matter anyways. So we were out there on the boat, and we went out there after work, we got the boat on, loaded out, we fished, and then basically we were only out there for like an hour and a half.
Yeah, because it was early enough to where like we weren't having our long days yet either.
Mm-hmm.
So like we were kind of limited by sunlight and all of that stuff. So,
But we got off, and like we did it to a point where it was like, okay, that was still worth the
100%,
hour and a half. So
And I like you get to be pretty proficient. You know, there's always sometimes kinks thrown into the process, but
yeah, it seems to never fail when you're doing. I feel like as like an outdoorsman, whenever you're going to do outdoorsy stuff, that's when shit goes wrong.
100%. Yeah, you forget something or something doesn't work right or something breaks or
Yep. And I'm pretty like adamant about doing pre-testing, if that makes sense.
Yeah, you run through your checklist before you go.
Right. Like a good instance of it is I'm going to lower the fish house and make sure all my cables and shit are good for camping season. Probably this weekend or next weekend, right?
Yeah.
Because we're going to start going into that. But like that's going to be a pre-check is just making sure it's all functioning so I don't get out to the campground an hour and a half away and something's not freaking working.
Yep.
Because it never fails.
My dog? She went home with Danny. She's gone.
We got another guest here, another visitor.
They weren't here for us. They were here for my dog, but
Oh, yeah. No, that's fine.
that's cool.
Need another minute, then I'll be out.
It's cool.
Yeah,
Whatever.
sure. Yeah,
That's
whatever.
People like my dog more than us, for
Yeah,
sure.
yeah. It's the same with my daughter. It's like, oh,
Oh, cool. I'm chopped liver now.
wait, you came? Where's your daughter?
That's only because of your mom.
She's more your mom than she is mine. She doesn't. That's my brosif there. That's my youngest
You guys
brother.
have probably heard him a couple times.
Yeah,
But
he likes to come visit us out here on the old PCast, which is just fine by us
Yep.
because hey,
it's just a big hangout.
it's a hangout. So, no, but like I was saying, I think you get into a rhythm of things. Make sure you check your stuff first, obviously, and it just helps to kind of mitigate some of the stuff. But regardless, you're gonna run into shit.
And maybe next week we'll put together a checklist or something quick to just,
Yeah,
just to touch on things and be like, okay, got this, boat's charged. But, that way, hopefully it can go smoother for everybody getting out there because we want to see you guys get out there.
yeah.
And it's a
And-
bad excuse if you think that you don't have enough time or things aren't as efficient that you can't go. So if we can help with that in any way, we'll try to do that next week. I think that'd be cool.
And like when you're younger too, like I think about certain things that I just never knew. So from my perspective, I don't have a boat, obviously, but like I have the ice castle. So there's certain things that I just never knew because I had never owned one.
Right.
And so learning on your own takes so much time.
Yeah, and you got to fuck up a couple times.
Right. And so like now I keep extra parts of everything because
Yeah.
I had one failure on the middle of a fucking lake. My pin broke and my castle dropped from the top of the crank.
Yeah.
Just about cut my toes off.
Yeah, no good.
And I was on the middle of the lake.
Right, what the fuck are you going to do?
Right. And I had no idea. So I had to reach out to a guy who's owned them forever and was like, hey, I'm kind of fucked here.
Yeah.
I'm sitting on the ice, and it was like the end of that day was you have to have your houses pulled. This obviously would have been 2 winters ago.
Yep.
And so I'm like, oh, sweet. Like, I'm just kind of dead in the water here, and my little pin thing
Literally.
broke. And so he told me what to do, and I didn't have the extra part to replace, which it wasn't easy. So the little pin clip on your crank box there, it's a little E-clip, and it slides in behind your actual pin that you crank on.
Yep.
And that had snapped and broke, and then shot the pin out. And so the whole the cable system just...
Yeah.
And So I didn't have any extra E-clips or nothing, and it was as simple as just putting a new E-clip in, but I
Yep.
didn't have it. So
Yep.
we had a piece of plywood in the back of my truck that we wedged up against the back wall so the pin didn't slide too far in. Put the pin back in, the gears lined up, and then we just slowly cranked it back up. But the other option was drill a hole, drill several holes, so you can put a jack down in it.
Yeah.
Jack the thing up until you can get the pin in there. And mind you, you're on ice this whole
Right.
time.
Right.
So
Your
the-
jack's sliding out from underneath you.
Or
Like,
the
it's just
house is
sketchy.
sliding. Yeah, it's just kind of a sketchy situation. So, like, that's one of the instances where it's like, okay, I would rather just tell the young guy or the new guy or whomever, like, okay, this is what you should have in your arsenal.
Yep. And see, that's how it always works. Is like, the lists become compiled from fuck ups.
Yeah,
The
100%.
oh shit moments.
The hard way.
Because there aren't a lot of people that give you a checklist before you go buy something or before you take something out for the first time. Mm-hmm. And that's where I think that'd be kind of cool, because a lot of times it's, oh, fuck, I don't have this, or I forgot this, or I didn't do this, and now I'm in this predicament and I have to call somebody.
Yep.
And you feel like an idiot, but that's how you learn sometimes. Mm-hmm. And it's fine, but also if there is somebody out there that can help you not have to look like an idiot,
Yep.
we'd love to help you with that.
So I guess that would just be a good point then. Just go on. It's called Icy Nuts.
I see nuts.
The letter I, the letter C, and then nuts. And they've got a website. They've got pretty much every part.
No, that's the porn site. It's
Oh,
ICEY nuts.
Yeah, that's a gay porn site.
Yeah, you're just going to see a big ball sack on the
Sorry
screen.
about it. That would be kind of funny.
That would be hilarious. It would get Rick rolled, but with a
Not
big ball sack.
big schlong. This is Daryl. Go on there and pick up, like, I got extra cables. I got those E-clips. That's the big one, is those little E-clips. I bought like a frickin' 10-pack of them because I'm just like, okay, if it ever happens again, I know what I'm doing. I'm fine.
Or, God forbid, it happens to somebody else who doesn't have it, and
Right.
somebody else
Yep.
has it.
Yep.
Like,
I'm a huge proponent for, like, okay, so usually there's 300 of us in one area. Or even when we're camping now, I'm seeing more and more Ice Castle campers,
Yep.
which is super cool just because I love the Ice Castle community. I love the just the usability of it all year round. It's just growing, and
yeah,
people
they're
are
functional.
Yeah,
People are getting behind it.
exactly.
And it makes total sense.
Right, because now you're not just paying for something or paying for two things that can only do one thing a piece.
Right,
It's like,
right.
no, I got the whole thing. But I get
All
it
wrapped
too.
up in one.
Like, as far as space goes, they're not the most spacious, but the new ones,
But neither is a big RV.
correct. Because now you have to store the thing, and you have to,
Right.
like, so, like, there's pros and cons to everything.
Yeah.
So yeah, no, get yourself a little packet kit and just keep it on your rig. So whether it be a boat, whether it be your ice castle, I mean, and so you're a boat owner. So what are some good things for the boat section?
Yeah, we actually had that on the list to talk about, and we can talk about it now for all I care. But, we've been rigging up our boats now that they came in for the last couple weeks, and I've been compiling that checklist, and it might be a little different for me because I'll be guiding people and I'll have other people dependent on me to, one, make it a fast, efficient, trip, but also from a safety standpoint. I'm starting to kind of put together this list of stuff that I should always have, things that are just good for safety measures, things like that. Like, I ordered a boat repair kit. Like, you have your prop wrench, you have extra stuff for fuses and fuel gauge stuff and things like that, like, just the random things that could go wrong. Have an extra kill switch on hand.
Yep.
That's a big one. If something happens and your kill switch blows out,
Yeah.
you're screwed,
Yeah.
right? Extra keys, extra props, extra plugs. You know, things like that are things that can get you by in a pinch if God forbid something happens.
Well, and you're on some bigger water up, where you're headed up into Canada, just in general, and so you don't want to be stranded out there specifically, but
Anywhere,
just
though,
in
either.
general,
Yeah.
like it's good to have this thing, and you probably don't have the room necessarily for everything you'll ever need always, but you can check off your small things that you can fix in a pinch.
Right. I went out and I got a Yeti Go box just to have that stuff in.
I'm bougie.
I like my Yeti stuff. Yeah. But, you know, like it's got all of that stuff in it. It's got extra rope. It's got extra marker buoys. I have safety stuff. I put some emergency blankets and a whistle and a signal light. 2 different GPS units. I got an inReach and a 2-way radio, and you know, just stuff like that. Where if you're in a pinch, especially up there where you don't get great cell reception all the time, something you can do satellite stuff with. That inReach, you can send messages that says, "Hey, these are my coordinates," or "Hey, we made it. I'm safe. Hey, I'll be back in 10." Mm-hmm. You know, just stuff like that you can inform people that you care about. They can kind of keep tabs on you. Or, you know, God forbid, like, I need help. This is where I am. Or, you know, anything like that. You can mark, you know, God forbid somebody went overboard. Or, you know, there's just so many different things that are just precautionary that I think it's important to have on hand. So I have an entire Go box that's emergency based, you know,
Yep.
for either repairs or situational stuff to keep people safe.
Yep. And in your case, like up in Canada too, there's a chance, you know, it's not a huge chance because you do prepare yourself for weather and stuff like that. But say something rolls in out of the blue, which can happen.
Yep.
And you have to shore up on an island somewhere. You know, that's potential up there in that area, because once sunset hits, you're not getting assistance until morning light comes.
Correct. It's not a safe place to be able to want to try to navigate that in the dark. Mm-hmm. You're better off sheltering up somewhere on shore.
Yep.
And figuring it out in the morning.
So having the necessary tools to be able to just maintain somewhere for a night, you know, because
Yep.
it's more than likely it's not going to be for more than one night. I mean, unless it's like a 5-day storm, which isn't necessarily super realistic either, because you're not going to put yourself in that position anyways.
Yeah, right. You would think you would see that on a forecast and be like, I'm not going to do this. Mm-hmm. You know, hopefully.
But you spend one night on shore, you bring some matches and, you know, some stuff like that to start a fire, and you just do it.
Yeah. And then we actually just talked about this too. We're going to put a bunch of shore lunch kits in like random safe spots. Mm-hmm. You know, so like, let's take our 20-mile, you know, corner of the lake into consideration. Like, you'll have one on each different shoreline. So God forbid the wind blows you into somewhere. Mm-hmm. You got one somewhere, you know, or you put it on the backside of this island that's close by, or, you know, whatever. Like,
Yep.
there's a good chance you're going to wash up on one of those shorelines and be able to go get to something that you can eat food with, or, you know, have a more comprehensive emergency kit to handle the night if you had to.
There'll be a can of beans and one package of ramen in each one. That's it.
Yeah,
That's all
you hope you caught some fish before you washed up so that you can cook those.
And then one like cheap Walmart frying pan.
Yep. It'll be a cast iron and a little like camp stove.
Yeah. Good luck.
Survive here.
Man this while you go.
Well, in like worst case, you know, if you'd rather stay warm and stay sheltered, if you gotta starve for
Oh my
8
God.
hours.
Starve is an aggressive word.
Exactly. That's what I mean. That was the point, you know, like
Yeah.
you're not gonna starve.
Bring a box of effing Cheez-Its with you, it'd be fine.
Yeah. And that's the thing. I'm gonna have a cooler on the boat 90% of the time.
Yeah.
You'll have water. You'll have some snacks. You'll have some beer. Like,
Well, and from the guide perspective too, like I said, you're just not going to put yourself in the position to
No,
where
nor
you're,
my clients.
Right, and
I'd be more apt to probably put myself as a single person in that position before I'm going to put somebody else's life in that. If it's a little sketchy, I maybe would venture out, me and Andy or something, and go dick around for a while.
Yeah.
Before I would take another person.
Right. Or two people.
Right.
Or
Or God forbid have a couple people in a follow boat or something like that where you're...
Right.
Who knows?
But you're also going to know the lake enough to, by the time you're guiding people and stuff, just knowing the lake is a big advantage to... I don't want to sound as dramatic as surviving it, but being able to just get through it.
Right. And assess your situation and know when it's appropriate to not do something and when you feel comfortable doing something.
Mm-hmm. Right.
You start to learn, okay, we have a projected 15 mile an hour east wind.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe that's not the best wind to be going out of our place.
Sure.
Maybe.
Well, 15's easy. Come on.
Okay.
Come on.
Sure.
Let's talk
25.
about 40. Come on.
Yeah, okay.
No, I'm kidding. I'm probably not going out on them boats in a 20 mile an hour wind.
I don't think so with the rocks and stuff that are... But that being said, there's plenty of safe ways to do that too. Maybe that's the day that you tuck up and just fish that bay just northeast of us.
Right. Yeah, exactly. You just mitigate for...
Maybe it's not the day to make a 20-mile run down the lake.
Mm-hmm.
That's not saying there's not a safe and effective way to do it. So that's kind of the thing too. We'll be monitoring a lot of that stuff just to play it safe and mitigate for that. And we'll be encouraging our guests to do the same. If people are going out that morning, say, hey, it might get a little rocky around 1 o'clock.
Mm-hmm.
I would encourage you to be back close to camp and maybe fish these areas and try these things. And this is what we're catching them on there and blah, 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 and still have a good time and still go catch some fish, but do it safe.
Right. Yeah, I think it's going to be fun for you up there too. Cause you have a lot that you get to learn.
Yeah.
And I say get to learn because it's not a job at that point.
No.
It's an exciting experience that you have the opportunity to learn this stuff, and that's super cool.
Yeah. And that's where I'm really, really excited because, where we're at currently and past years and stuff like that, you're limited to how much time you can do that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I get to do that every day now.
Right.
And there's a lot of stuff you get to learn and develop as you get to do a skill that frequent.
Yep.
How many times do you get the chance to, go out in 15, 20 mile an hour wind? That doesn't happen. It doesn't line up like that all the time. You don't get that much frequency working with boat control and wind.
Right.
And some people do, but it's not as frequent as if you get to do that for 5 months straight.
You're gonna pick up a lot of stuff this year. And I think next year is going to be better for you than this year.
Yeah.
Just because this year, and I still think just your knowledge of fishing in general is plentiful to go off of. But now you're going to apply that up there, and then you're going to just
double down on it.
Double down.
Yeah, exactly.
Yep.
And that's what I think too is obviously skill sets apply to pretty much anywhere you can take them, but then you put a year's worth of experience on a specific lake. Mm-hmm. You can learn a lot of one individual fishery.
Yep.
In that amount, you know what I mean? It just becomes progressive, the profound amount of knowledge Andy has about that fishery, and he goes twice a year for the last 10, 15 years.
Yep.
That's only 30 trips on a fishery.
Yep.
I'm going to do that in a month.
Yeah. The throwing up of knowledge that you're going to just be sucking back up into your own mouth is just going to be great.
And I like, too, the place that I'm starting off. Like you said, there's an extensive knowledge base of general fishing already. So then you can just devote your time to just getting better on that fishery.
Yep.
And that's crazy.
Well, and, you'll start to develop a base of people and, be able to start talking to some locals, and you can do a little R&D yourself
Yeah.
while you're up there. You
Yeah.
know, if you have an off day or a low day or whatever, to where you can just go up the road to Pickle Lake there and just be like, what's life up here look like?
Right.
What's fishing up here look like? What's just you grew up here. What does your life look like?
Yeah.
And that's a proponent that I like of it too, is like, you're not just getting the fishing aspect of it,
No,
but
you learn
it's a
the whole
cultural
dynamic, and yeah.
And the Canucks aren't that much different than us Minnesotans, but also you're in such a secluded area up there that the lifestyle is different. I mean, around in pretty much all of the state of Minnesota, at most places in Minnesota, I will be very specific in saying most, because I know there are some fairly desolate areas of the
remote,
state.
yeah.
Remote. That's a better word. But for the most part, you're at least an hour away from something. You know what I mean? Like, you're an hour away from a town.
Right.
Or you're an hour away from a bigger city, to where you have a Walmart. And, I mean, you go up north, it's a little different, but you're still within an hour of everything.
Right.
The local
Up
store
there
is within an hour.
is different.
Correct.
It's way different. Like, there were times I was just driving for 2 hours and there was nothing.
Yeah, you won't
Absolute
see a thing.
nothingness.
If you're up north, even in Minnesota, even way up north by International Falls, you're still within an hour of something.
Right.
And that's just our state. Canada's so fucking big.
It's different. It's crazy.
So you just literally have there's areas that probably haven't been explored.
Untouched.
Even. Correct.
Yeah.
Never seen people.
Which is wild. We have that reservation right by us up there. And I was looking at how big of an area that was and how condensed the actual community of the reservation was. Mm-hmm. And I'm sitting here thinking they probably haven't even touched half of this stuff. Mm-hmm. And that's crazy to think about. A relatively high density of population.
There's reservations in Canada too.
Mm-hmm. They're called reserves, but yeah.
Huh. Yeah, so I'm just saying. Just saying we're not the only ones that did it, but
Maybe we pushed them up to Canada.
and then Canada just agreed to give them something. No, I'm thinking the French had something to do with that.
Well, it's French Canadians.
It don't matter. They did the same thing we did.
Canadians are white people too.
That's true, but I'd argue we're the better white people. No, I'm just kidding.
Oh God.
I'm kidding.
Oh
Starting a race war with Canada.
yeah, that's not.
Well, it's still white on white.
It's Trudeau.
Nah. La, 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 la. I kind of wanted to be like, big shout out truckers up in Canada. We're drinking some. Should we talk about it yet? No.
We can jump into it. That's fine.
Okay, fine.
We're
We'll just do
already
it.
off the. We'll cover all the topics, but we're off the schedule.
Yeah, it's whatever.
No big deal.
That's how we roll.
No big deal.
Today we had a big. We got a big shout out to
Shout out Kimberly.
Arnold's Liquor. Arnold's Liquor Emporium.
Arnold's Good Spirits.
Good spirit.
We are in good spirits.
We're in great spirits. They hooked us up with some tester bottles here, some different new content, I guess, if you will.
Yeah. They got. I know we talked about this last episode, but they got sick of us talking about other liquor stores, and fair enough.
I don't know why you brought it up, but it's cool.
Yeah, well,
Andy, it was Max this time. He said it, not me.
I'm just saying.
So if you're looking for a guide, I'm
No,
really fast learner.
No more Sam's Club shout outs from Ty over here. No, Kimberly was nice enough to run out a box for us to kind of get us through probably the next 5-6 episodes probably here. Some new bottles, some stuff that I've tried before, but good stuff nonetheless. And we are tapping into the Maker's Mark this week.
Yeah. That's a good bottle.
I like Makers.
I don't mind Makers. Some people are going to hate on me for this, but if I go to a bar, especially small town bars, it seems to be a fairly common thing. Like they'll have a bottle of Makers and that's their high-end bottle, if you will.
Or at least
you know,
not like it's not their rail bottle.
Right.
It's their upgrade.
Right.
Pour.
And so I'm pretty religious with being like, if there's not a lot to choose from, I'll do a Maker's Mark with whiskey ginger.
Sure.
So,
yeah.
hate on me if you will. I don't feel bad mixing a little bit of ginger ale into some Maker's Mark.
No, and it falls in that area to where it's a very good bottle in both directions. You know, we have no problem sitting here sipping it.
Yep.
But also, like,
I don't feel bad mixing it.
if you just don't want a rail whiskey Coke or a whiskey ginger or bourbon ginger,
Right.
it is a good upgrade. And
Well, I feel like I hold myself at a little higher standard than that.
Yeah,
You
yeah,
know.
we aren't really rail folks over here. Nothing wrong with it if you are, but
I'm going to tell you folks right now, I'm not testing fucking Windsor on this podcast.
Windsor's not a bourbon, dude.
Well, I'm telling
Windsor's
you,
a Canadian.
and that's probably the most common rail there is.
Yeah.
They're like, "Oh, you want a Windsor and Sprite?" And I'm like, "No, I don't. Don't want to kill myself, but thank you."
Yeah, I mean, your Jack and Cokes, your Jims.
I can't get behind Jim, Jack, or Windsor.
Yeah.
It's just not me. And if you like it, good for you.
What's the other one? There's Jim, Jack, and what's the Irish one?
Jameson.
Oh yeah, Jim, Jack, and James.
But Jameson, I would put above.
It's
all of
just
those.
different. Yeah.
I'm going to go ahead and if you have Jameson, I will make a whiskey ginger, which is the way it's supposed to be made out of Jameson. And I've got a weird thing with Jameson, okay? So if I drink it in a whiskey ginger, I'm all good. It's hunky-dory. It's fine. It's a normal day. It's whatever.
Shots of Jameson is just psychopath material.
If I take shots of Jameson, dude,
It's a slippery slope. That's a bad news bears.
I'm an obliterated Irishman. I'm like balls to the walls, gonna do something fucking dumb. Like
The green comes out. And,
it does. It's weird. It's like a trigger because that was something that my father-in-law always liked to do when Danielle and I were like getting engaged and stuff. I went up there and asked for his permission for Danielle's hand. And we sat at a bar for probably a solid 3 hours. Just drinking.
Yeah.
And it was like every 2 drinks, it was a shot of Jameson.
Oh.
And holy shit, I was wrecked. And then we went back to John's house. And Danny's mom came home and John told her the news, obviously. And so she was super excited. And John's like, well, we've been doing them all night. And he frickin' reaches down in his cupboard and digs in the back and he frickin' pulls out the bottle of Jameson. And I'm like, no. No more.
John, no James.
Yeah. I was like, okay, that's fine. I'll do one more. And I got to start punching waters because I do have to go home at some point. So it was like water losing for the rest of the night. But Jameson shots are a fucking bear. I would take shots of this over Jameson.
Isn't that funny how you start to learn just like what, for some odd reason, what you can't drink?
Yeah, it's kind of wild.
Like, it's no higher proof than other stuff that you could sit there and drink all day.
And be totally fine.
Right. It's just, it's something different about something that just, it flips a switch in there that it's like, oh, nope, I don't like this.
You like it. It's almost like it's that switch you're flipping is like, okay, I'm going to set myself back about 380,000 years. I go full caveman.
just prehistoric.
Yeah, I'm just straight up. I'm grabbing a club and I'm clomping something to eat for supper. You know, like it's
Ty's out there carving a wheel out of the. Fire good, hot.
you know, like
It's funny, and you know, you hear people talk about that all the time, where you know they can't drink dark booze, or they have, you know,
Yep.
or tequila makes them, you know. It's funny how there's just certain things that you just learn that you're just like, don't sit with me. It's
Oh, it's
not
so
gonna be
weird.
good.
I know guys who can drink a case of beer and have the best of times, not have an issue all night long.
Yep.
But you throw them one shot of like you said, like a dark alcohol,
Yep.
and whether it be a whiskey or a rum or whatever it is, and they'll totally wreck it Ralph through the front door of your house.
Exactly. Yeah. There's like, you know,
They'll
like,
rip the door off.
I have friends where it's like, okay, I know exactly what night this is going to be based on what you order, and it's either going to be a blast, you're going to fight somebody, you're going to end up in jail, or you're going to cry. Mm-hmm. And it's like, there's just like, depending on what you order, I've started to learn what
Yeah.
my friend group can or can't drink, and
Yep.
what their response is going to be to this. And it's like, okay, we're up for a ride today. Like, I'm going to have to follow this dude around all night, make sure he doesn't punch somebody in the back of end up in the back of a cop car.
100%. I definitely, like, I've gone through that, especially, like, I feel like where my ironing out of those friends point was probably, like, somewhere between 24 and, like, 26.
Yeah.
To where you're just like, okay, we've been friends for this amount of years, and this isn't changing.
Yeah.
And it's like you try and be the good friend. You're like, okay,
Let's maybe
Hey.
just drink some beer tonight. Or
tonight
like,
you're not gonna drink this.
Yeah.
And then it's like you go out, and the first thing they do is drink that.
yeah,
You're like,
you're like, fuck.
cool. So I'm a
Here we
baby.
go.
I'm a babysitter
Yeah.
again.
Yep. Yep.
Yeah. Oh my god. Like I've had friends.
Yeah. You're the babysitter, you're the therapist, or you're the.
Oh yeah, yeah. That's a good point. Therapist. I've had buddies punch through mirrors, like on a truck. Somebody punched a mirror off of a truck, a big tow mirror, one night. You know who you are if you're listening. Love the guy to death. I don't think he's listening, but
This
it
is a
was
good
just
way to find out who's listening, because we might get a
Right.
text next week of like, "Hey, jackass,
yeah. Quit fucking talking
quit
shit.
throwing me under the bus."
Yeah. He though, like he was one that just shouldn't drink, period. You know, I've had friends that just shouldn't drink, period. I've had the guys who shouldn't drink this or that, period.
Yep.
And then I've had guys who are like, you should only drink this amount,
Yeah.
because they just like refuse to not drink.
Yeah.
So it's like, okay, that's fine, and I'll drink with you. But after 3 beers, I'm done.
Yeah.
Because I don't want to deal with it.
See, I'd actually rather be one of those guys, because I haven't figured myself out yet.
No, I'm on a little bit of a learning curve myself still.
Because there's times where it's like, we'll go on a bender on a Wednesday night and be just fine.
Oh yeah.
And then there's times where we drink half that, and I don't know what I did, but just something flips, and it's like, I'm all worked up about whatever's going on, and
yeah.
invincible, and nobody can tell me nothing.
We had a night on this podcast after doing it where we did what was it, 6 o'clock in the morning?
Yeah.
On a Wednesday night.
Yep.
We went till 6 o'clock in the morning. And I just want to give you context to this. I haven't stayed up till 6 o'clock in the morning
Oh, I can tell you last time I've done that.
since it was fucking like 21 in college.
Yeah.
And I'm doing it now as a 28-year-old guy with a kid. She wasn't home. She wasn't home. Just have to reiterate that. She
Yes.
was not here.
She
but,
is
like,
well taken care of on Wednesday nights.
She is.
We-
We have that all mapped out, so it's fine. But not fine, because I was like, what did we do?
But it was fine.
We felt normal. I didn't feel drunk that entire night.
No. And that's what I think is hilarious is like you can go to that extent and be totally cool and have a great time. And then there's times where it's like 10 o'clock happens and somebody's face down, fucking bleeding.
From the punch from some guy they intimidated. Oh, yeah.
You know, and it's just like, holy shit, like where the heck where's the line there?
Right.
It's just wild. But anyways, after that little tangent, we'll go back to our drink of choice for this week.
Oh, yeah, that's right. That's what we were talking about.
That.
So we're on the maker's mark.
Yep.
I got to pour myself another because I actually finished mine. But
And if you guys aren't familiar with Makers, it's a pretty, like Ty said, it's a pretty readily available bottle. Price point's pretty good. I think it's anywhere from the 30 to 40, depending on what kind of bottle you get. They have a bunch of different styles of bottles, but they have their notorious little wax dip that they do.
Yep.
Which I think is a cool touch.
It's a red top, wax dip, screw top.
And they're not all screw tops. Some of them are corked. And I actually think they have a black wax dip on some of their bottles too.
I think those are a little harder to come by.
Yes, yeah, and I think that's their bigger, fancy special edition stuff. But nonetheless, it's a cool little concept.
Their wax is aggressively
It's thick.
like bending the shit out of it, and it's not breaking.
They don't break, yeah. And it's not like their drips aren't super. They're not thin.
I'm starting to wonder if this is even wax.
It's wax. Let's melt it here and see.
Doesn't taste like wax. Just kidding. I don't know what wax. See, now I'm starting to think it's plastic.
It's wax. That's wax.
That's wax.
It's wax, yeah. But I found this the other day on one of my bourbon collectors accounts. Even though this isn't an extremely expensive bottle and not necessarily a chase bottle on anybody's radar, they do this cool thing, and I don't know if you've seen it or not.
You had mentioned it, but I don't know if I had actually seen it before you had mentioned it.
So, obviously, they bottle it, and then what they do is they dunk it into a big vat of wax, and that's how they seal their cork and their tops and everything. Well, I believe one in every 1,000, or it's like one in on every pallet or something like that, where they do a slam dunkarooski on it. And they dunk basically the whole bottle.
How do you get your hands on something like that?
I think it's random. I think let's say like somewhere orders a pallet of it. There's one on there somewhere, and I don't know if you just wait till you see it pop up on the shelf or what you do, but I've never seen one on a shelf anywhere. And I don't know if maybe that becomes an allocated thing that they kind of tuck away or what happens, but it's pretty rare when you figure one in 1,000.
Right.
Uh-oh.
There went the mic again. Fell off the table.
Mike fell off the table. He's going to be holding it for the rest of the episode.
Yeah, it's fine.
But that's something cool. Like if you guys happen to see a slam dunk bottle at Arnold's Liquor Emporium.
Yeah, and shout out to Andy and Sarah. I guess maybe you guys should just start looking for these things.
Yeah.
Start buying it by the pallet.
I'm just going to say you probably won't find them because I'm going to tell them to put that aside for me, but...
Us.
Yeah, us, exactly.
For us.
Should we take a little short pause and hash out this mic situation here?
Yes.
Okay, we'll be right back. You will probably plug an ad into this one.
We're going to throw in an ad.
And AIDS.
AIDS. No AIDS.
No AIDS.
Shout out to Magic.
Still kicking.
All right, we'll be right back.
We'll be right back.
Hey guys, it's Ty here from the Wilderness Whiskey Roundtable podcast. I'm excited to talk to you guys about the amazing Camp Lake St. Joseph up in Ontario, Canada. Sarah and Andy Arnold just took over this beautiful resort and are excited to bring you guys up here. If you're looking for a serene getaway into the wilderness of Ontario, Canada, this is your spot. Bring your family or bring a group of friends and have an experience of a lifetime. Here at Camp Lake St. Joseph, you will be able to get out on the remote lake, St. Joseph, where you catch huge trophy walleye and monster pike. You can bring your own boat up or rent one of ours. Come up and enjoy our rustic cabins, enjoy the fresh air, and get your chance of some fishing of a lifetime. We also will be offering an amazing guide service you can use. Max, our guide, will do everything in his power to get you onto these giant Ontario monsters. Sarah and Andy have put together a welcoming, fun, outdoor haven for you to enjoy. So check us out at our website and book your trip. It's camplakestjoseph.com or give us a jingle at 1-800-JOE-CAMP. That's 1-800-JOE-CAMP. And we hope to see you up there this summer at Camp Lake St. Joseph.
All right, we are back.
BACK, we're back. Little pee break, little microphone malfunction. It's fixed. It's anchored to the table again.
Dude,
Need
I
a
wonder
new
if we
table.
could just take these little C clamps off and just leg bolt the fucker right to the table.
Not this one, but to the permanent table, yes.
Yeah, we might have to do something like that. Or I think we could make a little stand that would mount a little bit better.
Or just, so they put the stupidest little tiny, your area of grip on these little C-clamps is like
It's an inch.
an inch.
And we have a routed table with like a design on the bottom. So it's like you're not getting a full clamp. You're like half on, half off. And if you just bump it weird, it just falls.
So there's no reason that this clamp shouldn't maintain that, but it's so tiny to where your actual gripper on the bottom grabs. That's just not grabbing.
It just don't grab right.
But
So even with good equipment, we still have some
Yeah.
random.
learning curve.
Yeah.
So Maker's Mark. Let's run a little taste. by
Let's dive
us.
into it. Yeah.
It's got a sweet smell.
Yep. I'm picking up, I think, cherry,
Cherry for sure. I would agree.
maybe brown sugar.
And brown sugar would probably be the taste. For
Yeah.
sure. I smell kind of like a cherry flavor to it.
And I believe this is 90 proof. Yep.
Yep, 45% alcohol.
Yep.
Alcohol by above.
ABV,
Above.
abbreviation.
Above.
I think it tastes hotter than that, to be quite honest.
There's more spice in your Maker's Mark.
Yep. More than what you would think a traditional 90 feels like, in my opinion.
Right.
You know, I would put this probably closer to like, I don't know, 47, 48%, or I don't think it's as spicy as 100. Mm-hmm. But I would feel like it's more than just a 90.
Right. It's the back end burn
Yeah.
that you get on this.
Yep.
It's like
It
you
kinda
take
lingers.
Yep. You take a swallow, it's good, everything good, and then all of a sudden it's like, oh, it's hot.
All right, let's see. Breaking Bourbon has to say about this. It is a 70% corn, 16% wheat, and 14% malted barley mash bill.
Barley.
Average price is about $30. That was back in 2017, so it's probably a little bit more than that now, I would assume.
It depends on where you get it.
Right.
Obviously, but
It's a wheated bourbon, and they actually make it in batches of less than 1,000 gallons, so around 19 barrels at a time. So
okay.
not necessarily small batch, but also not like crazy mass produced like some of your other ones, which is kind of neat, you know.
Yeah, because personally, I think with like what we're doing is I like to stay more towards the smaller batch style.
Yeah, doing some different unique stuff in my opinion, you know, like yes, Maker's Mark and some of these other ones are readily available, but also like they're not, I don't know, just your stock bottles are kind of boring. And I feel like it's something that a lot of people have already tried at some point in life. So we like to do something a little different. Obviously, we kind of talked about the wax seal. It is all hand dipped, even in their base bottles. Hence, obviously, they randomly do their slam dunk. And it's actually one of the few distilleries to rotate the barrels from upper to lower levels to improve the aging process.
I wonder what that
Temperature and humidity.
Oh, okay, sure, yeah.
So your higher barrels have a higher temperature, and they actually choose to rotate that out on their floor. So that's kind of
cool.
neat.
Yeah.
It's also one of the few American distilleries that use the Scottish spelling of whiskey as opposed to the traditional American whiskey. Did you see that on the bottle?
Whiskey.
There's no E.
No E. Whiskey.
It's kind of neat. On the nose, you get a big blast of sweetness immediately.
Yep.
Notes of vanilla, caramel, brown sugar, and they say strawberry.
Which is maybe...
I don't
cherry.
get it. I get cherry. Like when I smell it, I smell like I just opened a fresh jar of maraschino cherries.
And I think
Like
that's
this would
what's
make
hard.
a fire old fashioned with a couple of cherries in it.
Oh yeah, I would old fashioned the shit out of the Maker's Mark.
Surprisingly strong scent for a 90 proof. Right out of the bottle, it gives off a strong ethanol smell that thankfully dissipates over time and further reveals its sweet core. Granted, we've had a couple glasses already, so we're probably picking up more of that sweetness. I didn't smell that alcohol-y smell.
I didn't get the ethanol.
On the palate, slightly less sweet than the nose alludes, but nevertheless still pleasant and unassuming. Notes of toffee, vanilla, and oak, with fainter hints of toasted nut and cinnamon.
Okay.
Thin but buttery mouthfeel that goes down smooth, enjoyable, but not overly mind-blowing. At first, the thinness of bourbon makes the finish almost non-existent, but then it comes bouncing back. I wouldn't call it necessarily hot, but I wouldn't call it meek either. The palate's flavors carry over to the finish and are by no means super deep and layered, but overall they're pleasant and hard to find fault with.
Very well worded.
I think so. Like
Yeah, I think
that one made a lot of sense to me. I've read a couple tasting notes that I have a hard time getting behind. I don't know if that's the skill set that I have or what, but
Right.
it's right. It's right on.
Yeah, and we're by no means freaking whiskey snobs by any means. We enjoy our whiskey and enjoy tasting them and kind of broadcasting it to you. But
I wonder if there's ever going to be a point in these episodes that we like you hit 100 and we're all of a sudden we're a little snobby.
oh god, just yes, I smell the yes the ethanol.
Yes.
Yeah, it's got a 74% ethanol ratio compared to the.
I would like to think that there will be a progression in our tasting notes to where we get even better at it.
I would think so.
I hope to never become a snob necessarily, but I think there will be a progression here as we get deeper into this.
I feel like a lot of times too, we're like not necessarily drunk, but we generally by the time we're doing the tasting notes, we have a pretty decent base going. So it's like with that, like not just starting the podcast on it, which I don't love doing.
No, and I don't think that's not our premise. We're not necessarily a full-on bourbon podcast.
No,
That's not
it's,
what we're
it's
doing
just
here.
the whiskey is just a fun thing that comes with it.
Yeah, like
basically.
today, I mean, this is only a 375, but it is 3/4 gone.
Yeah, we put a good number on
Yeah,
it.
and it's good. I mean,
Yeah.
I do enjoy it. You have a little thing that you got or found.
I do. I've got a little book. I gotta grab it quick. Give me 1 second here. You just fill the dead space with talk.
Yeah, and like I said, we're not snobs, but I have a couple books too, and I guess Ty has one that I don't know where he got it, but it's kind of cool to have them, and that you can not necessarily always have to look up like we do on these, but you can kind of flip through a book, and it's cool to have something tangible in front of you. And this thing looks kind of sweet. I don't know what he's got here, but it looks kind of cool. Have you had
Okay.
this the whole time?
No, I haven't. I actually, my mom picked it up at a garage sale.
Oh.
And she's like, I thought of you.
Is it? Is it all whiskey?
It's
It's
all,
not just bourbon.
No, it's not
Okay.
just bourbon. So it's great whiskeys, 500 of the best from around the world.
Okay. So we might sort out some bourbons out of here and put a list together and
And just try and attack them. There
Yeah.
are a couple that I want to try that aren't necessarily bourbon though. Like there's some Asian ones and stuff in here that I found.
see, and that's cool too. We're not necessarily just full on bourbon. Like we like our whiskey in general. We like our bourbons probably predominantly, but
Right.
it's still cool to have something like this where you can go through and you have the top 500.
Yeah.
And as you start to, we should almost make a note inside of it on what we've had and what we've tried.
I'll probably just start a sticky note thing and just be like, try this one, try this one. And
Yeah.
obviously we have a price point to kind of maintain because I'm not going to go spend $200-$300 in a bottle.
Yeah,
either.
maybe not right now in life, but
Well, right. I mean, eventually down the road, it would be great.
it'd be cool to slowly start chipping away at some big bottles.
Right.
That's
But
maybe
this-
not one that we do a full bottle on a podcast about.
No, that's gonna be like we do our taster, and we'll probably drink.
Put it back away.
We'll drink something else in between.
That stays tucked away for special occasions.
Right. So I do have a Maker's Mark in here, and so
Is it the same bottle? Yeah.
It is, yeah.
Yeah.
Same bottle, actually. It looks like maybe that they took a picture of our bottle that we have here. Crazy.
Maybe we have the same bottle.
This could be the one.
The dip is pretty similar, even.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's got the two little sides. No, but it gives you just a little. So, Maker's Mark Distillery is located on the banks of Hardin's Creek near Loretto. Established in 1805, it's the U.S.'s oldest working distillery remaining on the original site.
Okay, that's cool.
Maker's Mark brand was developed during the 1950s by Bill Samuels Jr., is now owned by Fortune Brands, Inc. The use of the Scots Pelling whiskey, and it's in quotations as the spelling of the WHISKY, no E.
Yep, Scottish.
Yep. Rare among the U.S. brands is a nod to Samuel's Scottish ancestry.
Okay.
The tasting notes that it gives me in the book here is a subtle, complex, and clean nose with vanilla and spice. A delicate floral note of roses plus lime and cocoa beans.
Oh.
Medium in body, it offers a palette of fresh fruit, spices, eucalyptus, and ginger cake.
See, this is where I start to get lost. Mm-hmm. You start putting flowers in the mix.
Yeah, I'm just not well enough on the palate yet, or not distinguished enough in my palate to be able to identify that, but
And I can't say I eat a ton of flowers.
correct.
Or
The
smell
finish-
a ton of flowers, even.
Right. The finish features more spices, fresh oak with a hint of smoke, and a final flash of peach cheesecake. And this one, to me, feels wildly off.
It seems like, and see, that's the thing too, is like, it depends on who tastes it and who writes the review and writes the book. You know, like, I don't get peach.
Well, now that I'm breathing out of my nose and I've heard it, now it's starting to be like, is that a little bit of peach? I don't know. It's hard to say, but this book is super cool, and I think it'll open the door a little more to just trying some new stuff.
That's kind of fun too. Like, I'm glad you found that, or your mom got that for you, because that's kind of cool. It just adds another dimension to think about it when you're drinking it.
Right. Like, there's this one in here, it's called Nika. Oh, wow. Okay, so I read it, and I apologize. It's Nikka Miyagiko. Miyagiko. Nika Miyagiko. It's from Japan. So, apologies, but it is from Japan. So, 10-year-old, they age it for 10 years. There's just some weird, and there's Japanese writing on the front of these bottles, and there's several of them. There's Yochi, there's
Yochi Nika.
Teketsuru, Nika Teketsuru. And so, like, I don't know. Officer's Choice. Like, there's some really cool bottles in here.
Old Crow.
Old Charter. Like, there's
I
just
saw
some.
they had the old the Wild Turk on there.
They do, yeah.
The Old Forester.
Old Fitzgerald, Old Forester, which the bottle they have pictured in here is nothing like
That looks like
I've
an
ever-
old one.
Right. So I don't even
Oh.
know.
Birthday edition.
Oh, sure.
2007 bottle. I don't know if we'll ever find that.
So
but-
we'll never see that bottle. But there's some really cool bottles in here that we can kind of flip through. And they've got some scotches in here, like a scotch whiskey blend, which you and I have done our fair share of scotch blends.
I just can't get behind it. I got
I
a
can't
really,
either.
really nice bottle of scotch.
When you start adding that that peaty kind of flavor to it. It really, to me, just diminishes it.
Yeah, it's just not my jam, you know, and I like having a full bar cart and have some options for people, so like it's cool to have it.
Yeah.
It's
Oh,
not
you
a-
like scotch? Oh, here, I got a bottle
right,
for you.
Right.
You know?
I don't know if that's one that I would always pour for somebody who got a scotch, but at the same time, it's going to just sit on my shelf. It's not, we tried it and it wasn't anything to write home about.
And like my mother-in-law, she loves scotch. And so I've tried.
Tell her to come over.
We could, because we've tried a ton of different scotches up there. And I went to New York, and we went to a scotch and cheesecake bar.
Interesting.
And that was still to this day one of the cooler experiences I've had, because we tried some like 40-year-old scotch. And
That's wild.
it was probably the most expensive cheesecake I've ever bought.
Yeah.
But
I like me some cheesecake. I don't know if I want to eat it with while drinking scotch, but
I will tell you right fucking now.
it goes.
It goes well.
Maybe let's go get a cheesecake and retry that stuff that I got.
I'm in. I'll do it. It was all homemade cheesecake
I was
on
just gonna
site.
say, except our issue is we'd get a Walmart cheesecake,
Right.
and
Where you're picking up on.
yeah,
You're like, oh, cool. So I've got a $60 bottle of scotch, and I've got a $13 cheesecake from
yeah, that
Walmart.
was made right next to the bread and everything else there.
Right. No, but so we went to the scotch and cheesecake thing. I had some of the best scotch I've ever had in my life, to where I could, honest to God, say I would drink it.
Yep.
And on the same spectrum, Tobin ordered his scotch. And we all just ordered a different one, so we could all try different ones, right? There was, what was it? There was 6 or 7 of us, I think. And we all tried something different, and we all kind of passed our cups around and tried each other's. I would argue it was either mine or Brady's was the best too. And then Tobin's. So, have you ever used your vacuum and sucked up like a rug or something? Have you ever?
Yeah.
Okay, so you know that smell?
Yeah.
The
that,
belt.
it's working a little too hard.
It's the belt grinding
Yeah.
in your vacuum and basically half-ass starting on fire. That's exactly how the one Tobin ordered tasted.
Oh.
It was fucking awful. There's actually a video of me, because we had to finish it. You know, Tobin couldn't even drink it, and I had a pretty decent one. Everybody else had a pretty decent one. His was the worst, and I don't even remember what it was. But it was so peaty, and that peat, to me, just reminded me of that
Who's
vacuum
Pete?
belt. Hey, Pete, how you doing?
What's up, Pete? Shout out,
Big
Pete,
shout
if you're
out,
listening.
Pete. Tastes like you, Pete. And so I there's a video of me, and I grab my nose, and I just
Oh, yuck.
and I chug it down, and I just about threw up on the table at this place, and I had to I was like,
Which you know is so insulting at
yeah,
a
you're at
Scotch
a
bar,
place
like-
of and I'm like,
Yeah.
I'm sorry, but this is terrible. So not Scotch guys. Between the two of us, I've found a couple that can say I did enjoy, but I'm not gonna go buy a bottle of it.
No. We might actually have to expand our horizons on our whiskey choices on the podcast.
We're gonna have to, because
Because we're
gonna-
not the bourbon barrel boys
right.
or the whiskey round table.
Whiskey round table boys. Fuck. We
we
can
get-
screw ourselves here.
Yeah.
We should have added.
Too broad.
We should have added bourbon into the name.
Should have figured something different out. We might have to rebrand. Start over.
Whiskey round bourbon.
Wilderness Bourbon round table.
Wilderness ribbon durban blind taper.
No,
No.
it's a good bottle. I would encourage. I mean, the price point's very friendly. It's commonly available. I would say always have this on the bar cart.
Yeah, and it's at a price point to the like. You can buy in bulk too with this, so if you can go get a pretty substantial size bottle of it at places, and
Yeah, I think they make the big old handles of it.
they
I'm pretty
do.
sure. Yeah.
Yeah, they have handles of Maker's Mark at said places, and so if you're looking just to have a keepsake for you want to mix a good old fashioned or you want to mix a good whiskey ginger, I would definitely say this is a bottle to pick out.
Yeah.
And again, big shout out to Arnold's Liquor. They hooked us up with this one, so we're doing well, and we appreciate it. So if you're in the area of Waterville or Janesville, go ahead and come on down because they got it in stock for you. So
Yeah. What's next? What do we got on the list?
we need to talk about your Canada trip.
Oh yeah, I just got back today,
You did.
which will be a week ago when you guys hear this. Or is this going to go up?
I think I'm gonna try and put it up.
Okay.
We're gonna start and try and be more proficient at getting you guys this content.
Yeah, we're sick of talking about stuff that's a week old by the time you hear it.
Yep. So tonight is gonna be the night where we work through it.
Did you just cut your cigar with a fillet knife? No. Oh, okay. It's like, what?
I'm like, no kidding. Talon's hanging out here with us tonight, so he's on vacation. He's headed to Colorado, so this fucking asshole comes out here, and I gotta go to work tomorrow still.
Chocolatey. Cocoa.
He's lighting up a cigar. We're not doing cigars tonight.
No cigars tonight.
We're gonna hold the last two. I got 2 Gurkhas that we're gonna hold till next week
Yeah.
because it's gonna be your last week here in person.
Yep, it'll be the last hoorah. And I think I got enough secondhand smoke over the last 3 days that I think my lungs would fall apart if I.
Tried
Well,
to
now
smoke one.
I'm sitting in a garage with somebody smoking again.
Cool.
I'm gonna go nuts. Try it.
You're going in the house?
No, yeah. You're gonna sit in Milo's room.
Oh, perfect. Awesome.
Just the creepy uncle sitting in the corner of a sleeping baby's room smoking a cigar.
Hey, why you moving so much? Why you move so much? He calls me. Hey, your daughter moves a lot. She's sitting here, she's tossing and turning. I'm smoking my cigar, and she's just bothering me.
Please, I don't know.
Oh shit!
You sure she's good in the head? Oh, fuck. Okay, so what is the Canada update here? So we've been kind of working on packing trailers and taking trailers. And
Yeah, and being we skipped a week, I don't know kind of where we left off, but we had going back a week, we had some issues with the old pontoon bar to the Canadian cruiser. Mm-hmm. They didn't like it.
Yeah. Put it on the water, and it was not doing what we had anticipated.
We should say on the water alone it was fine, but once we loaded the golf cart and the tool trailer on it, it wasn't great.
Which is the whole point of
Correct.
the badge.
Well, half the point, yeah. But it was the big realization of that amount of weight. It wasn't handling it right. Also, the single axle trailer looked like it was going to break in half.
Which I'm not calling anybody out here, but I asked that question like
Months
3
ago.
months ago.
So we did what any normal person would do, and we fabbed up a bunch of stuff and figured it out.
Yep.
We put a second axle on the trailer,
Perfect.
which was kind of a bear because it was the right length axle, but it was upside down.
Oh.
So if you think about, how an axle, like the bend, if it has a bend in it, because it was a round axle,
Yep.
the bend is supposed to go upwards. So the weight levels it out, right?
Yep.
Well, the mounting brackets to attach to the leaf spring put the bend downwards. You couldn't turn around and flip it upside down and put the axle inside the leaf spring because then you were a good 6 inches off from where the other axle was. Mm-hmm. So we had to get new mounting brackets and put them on the opposite side and weld them on, which was fine. No big deal. Got it done after we put it on wrong the first time.
Oh,
Because when you look at it, too, the tires tip out because the axle bends down. So you'd be just wearing the fuck out of the inside of your tires. Mm-hmm. And we didn't really realize it until we got it back out to the lake and we looked back at it and we're like, oh,
that's
not right.
This is not okay.
So we flipped it upside down, put it inside the leaf spring, looked at it, and we're like, yeah, that's not going to work, obviously. Because the tongue would be dragging on the ground to get that front axle's wheels touching, basically. So, yeah, a couple runs to the old Tractor Supply and Fleet Farm and all that, and we got that done. We reinforced the tongue and kind of the front half of the trailer with some extra bracing. There's a lot of welding going on. I think I still got some
Welder's burn.
little welder's burn on the forearm there, but
So you didn't do that in a sleeve shirt.
oh, it wasn't a sleeve shirt. It burnt right through my brand new camp shirt that I wore.
Oh, love that.
Yeah.
Love that.
Yeah, it wasn't the smartest choice. I'm not a welder, but I was holding some stuff in place for Shifty and caught a couple strays, which it happens. It is what it is.
Have you ever welded? Mm-mm. Okay. I only ask. I did a frickin' high school class of it, and I didn't love it. My welds were okay.
Yeah.
They weren't anything to write home about. I mean, I think if in a pinch, I think I could adequately weld something.
Yeah.
I'm a better MIG welder than I am a TIG welder.
Sure.
I don't like doing the stick welding. But,
Yeah, and that's what we have out there is a stick welder. And that actually brings me to the second portion is we had to put a third tune on, which I think you also had said or mentioned.
Yeah, that was my second question after the trailer.
Yeah.
I'm not calling anybody out. I just was curious.
And we didn't know to what extent
right
it was going to handle anyways. You know, we found a solid pontoon. It was a 2-tune. We found a cheap trailer. You know, it was just we kind of you hope it worked, and it didn't, and we figured it out.
Yep.
So we had to go get another pontoon from Mapleton.
Yep.
And you don't get the luxury of picking and choosing a perfect sized middle tune to fit your pontoon. Mm-hmm. So we had to cut it down.
It was too long?
Yeah. Because we have the way the trailer is and the way that the pontoon is, there's that drop down spot in the back and there's stuff up front. I think it was a similar length to what the other 2 tunes were, but it didn't fit on the trailer right full length.
Well, part of it is just wrong trailer. Again.
Yeah, well, right. Yes, that trailer was made for 2 tunes and it just was what it was.
Just out of curiosity, you don't have the crank down trailer, correct? Okay, so there's 2 types of pontoon trailers. There's drive straight up on.
That's what it is.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then there's the worst fucking, in my opinion, the worst trailer that has ever been made for pontoons, especially, is you actually crank up. So you drive it up on it underneath your lifters, and you actually lift it up, and it lifts up and forward.
No, that's not what it is.
And the only reason I say that's the worst is because typically speaking, they go right down the middle of your pontoons, and they seat in the middle of your boat. Well, now you're at the mercy of where your boat's leaning.
Right.
Because you have such a skinny, tiny little trailer that's underneath.
Yep.
To where you're not actually supporting properly.
Yeah, no, and we knew with the amount of weight that we had on there that it had to have full-on bunks that sat nicely. And, I mean, we had to do a lot of that stuff, too, was make it so it fit right. Mm-hmm. You know, because the trailer wasn't necessarily made for this pontoon. Mm-hmm. But anyways, yeah, we had to cut that pontoon down, and apparently stick welding is not the appropriate method of welding a pontoon back together.
Well, I want to say that I might be wrong here, and maybe I should just look it up, but I'm going to say it anyways. I always thought pontoons were aluminum, but maybe not.
I guess I don't
A
know.
light stainless steel. There is light stainless steel out there.
Anyways, we called in some backup, and he said a TIG welder was the best approach.
Sure.
And he came out and he welded it back together and got it airtight.
Okay, so I said TIG welder for stick, and stick is not TIG. I apologize.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I'll redact the statement because I said TIG, which is stick, and that's not true. Stick is just stick.
Yeah, correct. It's different. Yeah. So he came out and we forked out for 4 hours worth of work on a boat welder to actually get this pontoon sealed, this third tune sealed up nice for us.
You said you had a guy come out, or
Yeah, no, we had a guy from Madison Lake come out and do it for us. And he was awesome. I mean, he was very good at what he did. But apparently you have to run a lower temperature too, because we were just running into burning straight through that fucker.
Because they're very thin.
They're very thin.
Yep. Tunes are very thin.
Yep. So we got her all ironed out and we got her back on the trailer and we felt pretty good about it. And then we took it up this week.
So, are there airports on those?
On the pontoon? Or on
Yeah.
the tunes?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, that's
Yeah.
what I thought.
Yeah, we were running compressed air into it to make sure we didn't have leaks.
Perfect.
Yeah.
That's what I thought. I was like, I
So-
was thinking about it because the last time Dad had when we were kids, had an old pontoon,
Yep.
Palm Beach. And so, like, he did a lot of work on those.
Yep. There's multiple plugs all throughout the tune. Mm-hmm. So, like, our two outside ones actually have multiple closed cells of.
Yep.
So, like, the whole tune had 5 different air compartments.
Right. So it's 5 different platelets, essentially. That
Right. So if
split
you
them
happen
off.
to get a hole in one, you hold.
You're not going to
4
sink
other
the whole
ones.
fucking boat. Yeah.
Well, this new one was just a single one, but it still had 4 plugs on it. Mm-hmm. Obviously, you just pump compressed air in it, and if it's leaking, you got a hole somewhere.
Yep.
So that was our big issue. We were welding it back together, and it was leaking like a sieve, basically. So we took it out late last week and dropped her into Elysian, left it overnight on somebody's dock, and just wanted to make sure that it was sealed up good and handled everything after we put the third tune on, and it did. So we felt pretty comfortable about that.
I'm actually kind of surprised just with how much stuff they do out there. Do they have a MIG welder?
No, I don't think so.
Okay. Which is just a wire-fed welding unit, essentially.
They might, actually. I don't know. There's 2 different ones out there, and then they have a plasma cutter. Mm-hmm. So they very well might. I just think Shifty tends to prefer using the stick welder.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah,
I guess I don't know. Like I said, I'm a noob when it comes to welding.
and that's where I've got just a basis of what high school welding was, and which is weird because now as an adult I'm like, you look back on some of that stuff and you're like, I wish I would have
I kick myself every day.
taken more advantage of what you had.
Yeah, and I think I missed the opportunity to do it because I was doing all the PSEO stuff and I wasn't on site much my senior year.
Well, your senior and junior, because your junior year you started your PSEO.
And now I really kick myself because guess who's not using much of that college stuff? Mm-hmm. And if I would have done more hands-on stuff when I had the opportunity to, I probably would be using that more than I would be using my college education.
Right.
Which is funny. So I encourage people, if you have the opportunity to take some of that hands-on stuff, to definitely do it.
I honestly have, you and I have talked about it, just maybe splitting a welder.
Yeah.
Just get,
Yeah, because there's some affordable small units that you can get.
just for the miscellaneous bullshit that we do, which isn't much, but enough to be like,
You could reason with it.
to have it and to practice. And you could honestly just practice. You could.
Well, right. You
could
get a
just-
bunch of scrap metal and
just practice your welds. Because
we were really kicking ourselves when we were doing that casting platform because
Yeah.
we were sitting there. You had to get freaking angle iron that had slots and holes in it. We were bolting everything, and it was just there's so much more flex and give and when you bolt stuff, and like I would have been more comfortable if we could have sat down and just made it into one big solid piece and just been done with it. Even
Agreed.
if the
Yeah.
welds were relatively half-assed,
Yep.
but they could support a couple 100 pounds of weight.
So you not welding, it's kind of funny because you're more artsy than what I am.
Yeah.
And since we don't have video, nobody can see it. But literally, what a weld is like this right here.
Yeah.
You just coil over yourself,
Yep.
and you just keep doing loop-de-loos, and you try and keep that as straight as possible. Now, with like a stick weld, to me, this was much worse than what a MIG weld was.
Sure.
And I don't know why or how, but then with the MIG welds, you would get like this, and you'd start going, and you're doing your little twirls. And
Yeah, they always say you stack your dimes, isn't it?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And you'd get these weird little, for me anyways, and it's just because I'm not a proficient welder, but you get this weird little air pocket in
Sure.
between. So like it's a give and a take, but welding is so profitable.
Yeah.
If you can do it.
Well, I think this guy was close to $100 an hour, and obviously he was like it's an emergency on-call situation, so I'm assuming he was more expensive because of that. But that's literally what his whole life is he goes and he welds stuff for boats, and he obviously makes pretty damn good money at it. You know, he spent half a day out there, and he took home $500, and
So if you and I were to weld something, say for us, a couple of 1/4-inch steel together, right?
Yep.
I think I would be confident enough to be like, yep, I can do that.
Yeah.
But now when you're talking
But if this floats or not,
this tiny little slat of sheet metal, essentially,
Yeah.
that's rounded out and put on boats, I'm not, because I'm going to burn through it.
yeah, right.
Because I just don't have that experience.
Yeah.
So,
He said he's only been doing it for 6 or 7 years. He didn't have like a huge tenured career of doing it, but boy, he was good.
Well, if you guys want to, I also have a manager at Jones there who quit from Jones, but he's willing to teach people.
Oh,
He actually offered me to go to his garage, that's one of those moments too.
take it up, dude. That's just what we're
I
talking
would.
about right now.
Have you
100%.
tried welding?
No, I've done a cutter before, a plasma cutter. I've never done anything other than that though.
Yeah.
I've watched a lot of welding when I was working in that metal shop. It was freaking interesting.
Yeah.
I would argue that plasma cutting is easier to learn than what actual welding is.
I think so
It's
too.
difficult.
Is it?
No, I know. I've plasma cut before.
Yeah.
But I would argue that that's
Oh,
easier
100%.
than actual welding.
Yeah.
Especially because, like, what you start out at as a stick weld, and so you have to chop off all your slag, and which is just basically the remnants of what that stick weld leaves
Sure.
behind.
Yeah.
So you take a little slag chopper and you chop all that off, and I'm looking at it and I'm like, there's a hole there,
Yeah.
there's a hole there, and that's where my other brother Tanner just is missing his mark completely, is because he was a fairly proficient welder. And I would also argue my wife,
Can weld?
she can weld.
Well, why wasn't she out here working on the boat?
Dude, it's the weirdest thing. So she was working with a client. She's a nurse. She had a client who helped out at a school doing welding stuff. So when she was with said client, she would go with him to the school.
Sure.
And they had I think it was at Mankato West, I want to say.
Okay.
What's the better of the two?
I don't know.
I
don't know if there's a better of the
I
two.
don't know either. Well, one of the Mankato schools, and they welded roses for Valentine's Day. And yeah, and she actually brought one of her welded roses that she did herself, and it was pretty immaculate for never welding before in her life. It was like, I'm like, hon,
Yeah, hang up the nursing. And
yeah, I'm like, you're you're a really good fucking welder. And she was like, no, I'm not. And I'm like, no, your welds are legitimately better than mine. And
Okay, I'm gonna argue too. If a dude can charge that much welding, can you imagine what a chick could charge?
it's got to be more. She has boobs.
That's what I'm saying. I would sit in the shop and watch a chick weld all day long, I think.
Talk about accidental fucking knowledge, though. I mean,
Well, right,
Yeah.
yeah. How do you stumble upon that? You just get
like,
thrown
I
into it.
just
And
know
you,
the guy
And she
with
did.
her-
She was like, I was so scared to do it. I had to put this helmet on. I had to wear this jacket, you know, the welding jacket.
Yeah.
And she's like, he told me how to do it, and I just did it. And I'm like, you just did it.
yeah, you just
did it.
Whatever.
And this is what you
But-
came up with.
I think about that all the time of like, how many people have a skill set that they're really, really good at, but just never experience it, never get thrown into it, never find out that they're good at it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like you maybe could be the best singer in the world,
Yeah, and you
but
just
you never
done it.
sang.
Yeah.
You know, or you could be the best painter and you just don't think you can paint.
Well, I can go ahead and shout out somebody who can sing and who doesn't. And I hope she's listening to our podcast, but if she's not, I'm going to get her to. Big shout out, Libby.
Yeah.
Yeah.
See, that's just a thing. Is like, you know, I wonder how many like people who could be professional football players, but they never, their dad never played catch with them in the yard. You know,
My dad never played with me, so I'm not going to do it.
yeah, you just never find out you're good at it. That's just
God.
crazy.
It's a wild thing, man.
Oh God.
Well, I'm glad we're making headway on the stuff for Canada.
Well, it's done. It's up there.
Yeah, you guys took the boat up.
She gone.
That was the trip you were on.
Yeah. So we left 2 a.m. Monday morning. Mm-hmm. And I went to bed early Sunday night after renovating our house and got up bright and early, met Andy out at the shop, and we were on our way. We pulled that big, I don't know, it was 32, 36, I don't know, it was a massive trailer up. And we went up through... is it International Falls?
Yep.
Off the North Shore. Mm-hmm. So we went up through International Falls, and this was my first time going through Canada and everything, so it was kind of fun. Mm-hmm. And that's why I wanted to go. I was like, hey, like, you know, I don't know. I'm sure you could do this by yourself. And he's like, well, I don't really like driving, but I can do it. So I get the feeling that you want to come, so let's go. We're going to leave 2 a.m. Monday morning. So I come out, I jump in the truck, and I start driving, and we push up to International Falls, and we bring the trailer through and everything, and we go up. We stopped about an hour and a half short of where our camp was because we rent a lot out there that we can store our stuff at. Then we dropped the trailer there, and we headed back, and Shifty brought up the pontoon that afternoon. Mm-hmm. Dropped it off at the casino hotel up there right before the border, and we came back, and we stayed down there. And then took that up the following day on Tuesday and dropped it off in the same spot. And then we decided to push on up to the lake. So we went the extra hour and a half north up to St. Joe's. We wanted to see what the ice was like, which wasn't great.
A lot of ice still.
Yeah, it's a lot in terms because it's a big lake. I don't think there was probably more than 5 inches on it.
Yeah, but that still takes time.
It takes time. Yeah, and they're not getting the rain and the wind and stuff that we're getting down here, which doesn't help. The most frustrating thing is that every other lake surrounding it is wide open. Mm-hmm. We are the only lake other than Pickle Lake when you go up another 20 miles or whatever, 12 kilometers or whatever Canadians use for measurement.
Stupid Canadians. No, I'm just kidding.
No, metric's actually easier. It was actually kind of fun to be able to switch over the truck to kilometers and go 120. Felt like I was flying.
Yeah.
But we went up there and we wanted to see what it was like. And the shoreline was pulled out. The North Bay up there was fully open, but most of the lake still had ice on it. And I would say probably the first 5 feet of ice that were still on there was pretty black. It was dark, so that's going to go pretty quick, I think. I mean, it's probably only a couple of days, I bet.
Hopefully.
It was 66, 70 degrees up there, so it was whatever, fucking 12 degrees Celsius or whatever it is. And I lobbed a couple of good-sized rocks into it, and we broke through some of the dark stuff and didn't break through any of the other stuff.
You know, what I would argue with you is that, you know, a normal person who was in your position would have probably brought some waders.
It's too deep. I couldn't have got out there. I thought about it because we brought a drill with a decent-sized drill bit. Because I was like, well, if there's a shoreline, like if there is ice up to shore, I will walk out there and I'll punch a hole and just see. You know,
Right.
if it's deeper than a 6-inch drill bit, we're in trouble.
So you didn't bring a sled you could just float in out there?
No.
Or a kayak?
In our defense, we had a pontoon that we could have pulled up an extra hour and a half and we could have figured it out. But we didn't.
It's starting to sound like a pretty lame. Yeah. No, I'm totally kidding.
Our thought was, because we knew we weren't going to come back on Tuesday, there was just no way we were making it all the way back after pushing up there. That we were going to pull the pontoon all the way up to the lake and we were going to go across the lake and stay in the cabin
Really?
on Tuesday night if it
No
was open.
kidding. Wow.
Which I was so pumped for because we just kept driving. You know, everything after where we dropped the trailers off was open. So I'm like, okay, here we go. Like, this is exciting. We're gonna get to turn back around. We're gonna go pick up this pontoon. We're gonna, you know, do a little like adventuring actually. And then we get there and we're like, fuck. And we brought up a trail camera that did cellular cams, and it didn't work because we were going to set it up to take pictures every day and send it to us so we could kind of see how the ice was progressing. And of course, I didn't bring my laptop, and you had the SD card adapter out here. You had to format the SD card to fit the camera perfectly.
Did you hear that? He said SD card adapter, not just SD card.
SD card adapter.
That's why you got me on.
Correct terminology.
These
Fuck you,
SD
Talon. Fuck you, Talon.
I was like, it's in my. I don't have it. I don't know where it is. The adapter. I took my adapter back because I had to use it for my drone footage.
But for some reason,
So, like, you could have done it had you had that,
if I had the computer and the SD card adapter, yeah, we could have set it up.
but you didn't have the computer.
Yeah, or
Which
the
was the
SD
main-
card adapter that
Okay,
was
but
here.
but the computer was the main component.
Well, I could have done it off the iPad if I had the SD card adapter, and I did have the iPad.
God damn it! Now I feel like a dick.
Well,
Thanks.
yeah, if you would have had the correct terminology, you could have just borrowed Talon's SD card adapter. I still would have had mine, and then I would have took it up, and then we would have been able to put it. Yeah, so it's all your fault again.
No, it's fine. I'm going on Amazon right now.
No. This will be another half drunken order that gets canceled and doesn't arrive when it's supposed to arrive. And
It's kind of funny. On my laptop, it saves everything. So,
oh God, that's what you watch?
So this was from when I still had probably my G6.
Some old Infinity speakers.
Some Infinity 12-inch
Yeah,
subs.
currently unavailable.
Yep.
That's definitely old.
It saves it from basically, it would have been going on 6 to 8 years ago.
Yeah.
But I type in Amazon on my computer and
And
Google
it pulls up your
saves.
speakers.
Yeah, that was what I just hit AM enter. And it took me to a
gotta-
speaker that
You
isn't
gotta
even-
clear that browser history, big guy.
I have.
That's
was-
kind of creepy.
I don't like that.
Did you even have this computer back then?
No.
Yeah, that's weird.
No,
Did you sign
it's
the same
super
Google
weird.
account,
It's
Probably
same Google
Amazon,
account.
Google
yeah.
account. Yeah.
I wish I could do that. I have so many emails and Google accounts.
Yeah.
It's not even funny.
Yeah, it's so I'll just buy an adapter and then you can take yours back and
Well, it's too late now.
oh yeah,
It's too late now.
You didn't have what you needed anyways.
Yeah. Unfortunately, we probably won't be going up on Tuesday like we thought. Which actually, depending on when people listen to this, we might have been up there already, but we're not going anymore. At least I don't think so. We'll have somebody check on it on Sunday, but I highly doubt it.
What'd you pay for yours?
Well, mine is an Apple one, so it was way too much money.
Okay, well, I found one for $25.
That's not bad.
Bye now.
Is it a Lightning or a
I do
USB-C?
a USB one, you know.
What?
I have a USB one that would go straight into. You have a USB port on it?
Yeah.
Go grab it.
And don't buy it. Just wait.
173670.
But then we pushed up all the way to Pickle Lake, checked out the lumber yard up there, which was actually pretty impressive.
Enough to where you can.
Oh yeah,
do
they
what
got
you need to
everything.
do.
Yeah.
How much lumber do you guys need?
I don't know. We're just contemplating on how much to bring. Because we're going to do a bunch of different things. You know, we got the shower shack and the extra shed that we're going to raise up. So we have to build up side rails. And we need some green pole barn steel for some roofing and stuff like that. But they had it all in stock. You know, we didn't even expect them to have that steel. And he goes over to a shipping container. It's on top of it. They got every color that you could imagine. Like, it was pretty impressive. I was kind of impressed with the operation. You know, Pickle Lake's about the size of Pemberton.
Damn.
And they have a full grocery. They have a full convenience store. They have a full lumber yard. They got an airstrip. But that just shows how remote it is, too. You know, that like small towns like that have to have it because it's the closest thing within 2.5 hours.
Yeah, and so for you folks who don't know what Pemberton is here in Minnesota, Pemberton is this town of like, I don't know if they have 1,000 people.
But I think Pickle's like 770 or so. You know,
Right.
it's not a lot of people.
It used to be within our school system back in the day. They had a full school. It was whatever grade to whenever.
Yeah.
JWP is where we went.
Yeah.
And basically, Pemberton now is this little tiny ghost town that I think has a bar.
I couldn't even tell you last time I went through Pemberton.
No, it's just a little tiny town that has been forgotten within
Yeah.
the realm of.
And now our buses just go pick up and bring them to Janesville. You know, we lost both Pemberton and Waldorf schools, and everybody comes to Janesville. You know, and there's a school in Pickle. I can't imagine what those class sizes are. They can't be very big.
No.
You know, but it was nice to go in and see, because I will tell you, we didn't bring an SD card up for that camera anyways.
Oh.
But we did find one in Pickle. So the limiting factor was the adapter.
You're such a dick. You're such a dick.
But we went into the grocery store and we were kind of looking around just to see, you know, because we were thinking we had to go all the way back we had to travel 2.5 hours south to go to a good grocery store.
One could argue, though, that like a guy like you who's got all these cameras and adapters and things like
That I
that
should have more than one?
probably have multiple.
Oh, yeah. Well, I didn't think I would ever need multiple until my co-host calls me and says he lost the other one.
I thought I did because I called my brother
And asked for the wrong thing.
That's bullshit. He's full of it. It's bullshit. I'm not.
You're not the most technologically inclined. You probably didn't know the correct terminology.
Okay, so like I'm technologically inclined, but I can shake your hand as I'm meeting you, and I will forget your name within the handshake. So I just don't know names of things.
SD card adapter. Say it with me.
I might argue there's certain things I could be more technologically advanced than in you.
You think so?
Certain things.
Maybe.
Not all things.
Yeah, maybe. I'll give it to you. I'm not the most... I don't know everything.
I think if we went... I think if we compared certain things to other things, I think I might have you on a couple.
All right, that's fair. I'll give it to you.
All right, fair
that's
enough.
all right. I don't think you're dumb.
I also don't know how to run that laser printer, but I've never tried.
That's
either.
true. It's pretty easy. You'd learn it pretty quick.
I've never
It's
tried.
not that complicated.
I'd like to learn because there's a certain somebody who's also supposed to, on his downtime,
What downtime?
the time that the laser printer isn't running and he's out at the shop,
Oh,
that he's
then I'm
supposed to
doing
be
other
making
stuff.
a little bit of gear for us, but
Yeah,
it's
that's
fine.
true. You could learn it. You could make it while we're gone, for sure. We're leaving it home.
All right, fine. I will learn how to make it, and I'll make gear for us, and we'll just give the shit away.
Come out tomorrow. Oh, you're too busy. You don't have time.
Okay, ease up on it. My life situation's a little different than yours, fucker.
Oh, okay. Because you can have kids and I can't have kids.
That's not what I was saying. There's more to that too.
Whatever.
We're not doing that.
Whatever.
No, so we're making headway. We're doing good at just being proficient in getting everything done we need to get done.
Yeah. Now
Made a bunch of furniture 2 weeks ago.
Yep.
All the furniture is done.
all the
believe.
stuff that we're remodeling this year is done.
Right.
Yep. We're gonna do a couple other cabins next year.
I would kind of argue that maybe, and it's just an argument. We're putting too many things in the basket.
Maybe. I don't know.
Is that a micro SD though?
Both.
Where's the big one go?
On the side. Yeah.
I can have this?
Yeah.
You're not gonna take it back randomly?
Put that in there once. It's on there.
You're not gonna randomly
I
take it back?
don't know if I can put. I don't want to put porn.
We'll do it after we're done recording.
Yeah.
I can't find my other one.
But no, I think we're just at the liberty of when the lake comes off. That's literally it. Mm-hmm. I think we're in such a good place. We still got some personal stuff to pack, but that's not going to take very long.
Yeah.
That's the easy stuff.
For what I helped out there and stuff, I think we're at a good point of like, irregardless of what you think you're gonna get done, and I just say that with so much grace, is because it's just a human construct of like, we can do
and you
of this
over-prepare.
right away.
Yeah. We might have brought too much stuff. I don't know yet. I
Right.
hope we can get it all done. Who knows? But I think we have plenty of stuff to keep us busy, and we've got the stuff that we need to do what we hope to do.
Right.
And that's all we can really ask for.
Yep.
So now we're in this spot where we're just at the liberty of Mother Nature, and whenever it comes off, we're pretty well ready to go.
Going up there.
Yeah.
Yep. Just getting it done.
And I will say, Ty, you have to come up because it's insane.
I'm so in.
I've never been, and like it was so cool, and it's so remote, it's so peaceful. We pulled into the landing out there, and my heart sank because we couldn't go across the lake that day.
Right.
I was so excited. We were halfway up there from where we dropped the trailers, and I was like, does it make, I said, I know you have to stay for your obligations, and the earliest that you can leave is Tuesday, but like, does it make any sense for me to go early? Like, I want to be up here. It's so freaking cool. And like, I saw so much stuff that I've never seen. There were moose, there were bear, there were chuckers running across the road, like birds that can fly that didn't care to fly. Like,
You ever seen a moose in person before this?
I've never seen a bear. I've never seen a moose. I've never seen a chuck. Like, there was so much new stuff.
That's so cool.
And we saw a mama bear and 3 cubs. Mm-hmm. The 3 cubs ran across the road. The mom stayed on the other side. We kind of slowed down. We stopped in the middle of the road, took pictures. There was nobody around.
Yep.
It blew me away.
It's super cool. I think you're gonna have such an experience.
Have you ever seen a black bear?
Not alive.
So they're tiny compared to what I expected.
They're very small. So my cousin shot a black bear.
Yeah.
And had it hanging, and that was my experience.
Like, I'm sitting here, I thought they were 6-8 feet tall.
Yeah, no.
I don't even think they cracked that. Like,
No,
Mama Bear
they're
was
small.
like what I expected a cub to look like, to be quite honest.
Yep.
Like, I was like, wow, like, it was just new. It was cool. Like, we drove off, and Mama Bear crossed the road behind us and went back with her cubs, and it was neat, dude. Like,
I think it's such a great, cool area up there to where you're gonna see some shit that you can't see anywhere else, and that's
like
Canada.
We saw 9 moose collectively. all cows. Unfortunately, I was hoping we were going to see a big bull moose with full antlers, but I don't know. I don't know that much about moose. I don't know. Did they just shed their antlers? Like, do they? I don't know. Mm-hmm. But everything we had was antlerless. But you know,
I've also seen a moose dead.
They look like horses. Well, you saw one on Tuesday on the side of the road that got hit, and it must have got hit by a semi because there was no like collateral damage. There was nothing laying on the road from like a vehicle or anything. I'm assuming it just bulldozed right through it. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and it wasn't there the night before.
You hit a moose, it's a bad deal. In a vehicle, the chances of survival are pretty slim.
Statistically, more people die from hitting a moose than they survive.
Right. Because they generally, because of how tall they are, they go through your windshield.
Yeah, yeah. And I will say, Tuesday night when we were coming back to the States, I saw 4 overnight that were either right on the side of the road or crossing the road. It kind of had me rattled a little bit because, you know, you're flying down these little 2-lane roads with no shoulders. Mm-hmm. And all of a sudden there's a moose, you know, and I'm like, I don't want to fucking crash this $80,000 pickup into a moose here. And it was just foreign, you know. It's like you smash a deer, it's one thing. But it's like, these are different beasts. They're freaking massive.
You're hitting a cow.
Yeah.
I mean, they call the fucking females cows.
Yeah. And how rude.
Because you're hitting a cow.
You imagine you call a female a cow and you're in a bad spot.
You're hitting a really fucking tall cow.
Yeah. No, they're massive.
These things weigh fucking 1,200 pounds, you know?
It was such a neat thing. You know, like I said, I was a little bit on edge because, it was new for me, and we're trying to get back to the States to find a hotel to crash in. I'm like, I don't really want to end up in the middle of nowhere hitting a freaking moose. Mm-hmm. But it was just so cool. It was, we saw a couple in broad daylight, and you got to actually slow down and admire them. It was so neat.
You guys got to come up to Canada. You guys got to come and enjoy Camp Lake St. Joseph. It's going to be the spot. It really is. You're up there a ways, and it's going to take some travel time. But if you like fishing,
if you like the outdoors, if you like the peacefulness, the serenity,
right, this is going to be your spot.
If I could be up there 24/7, 365, mm-hmm. I would.
Yeah.
If I could find a way to grunt it through a winter up there, after being up there, dude, like I have goosebumps right now talking about it. It is amazing.
I don't know if I want to be a Canadian though.
No, they were very nice up there, I will say that, but like
gas is expensive.
You're almost $10 for diesel.
Yeah.
$10 Canadian, but at the same time, like that's still $7.
I know a person who lives up there, and not to degrade Canada or whatever, but I know somebody who lives up there and is a full-time resident, and they're what would be doing really well down here. Like, she'd probably have a pretty good-sized house, a couple of nice vehicles. No, I'm not talking, like, wealthy. We're not talking Warren Buffett. Like, you're not driving a fucking Lambo or nothing, but in comparison to what they pay for what Canada is, she's hard up. But she's making money hand over fist, but she's hard up.
It's Trudeau.
True that.
And
I don't want to stir the pot.
No,
anything, but ladies and gentlemen, Mother's Day is coming up. Let's just not forget about that. We got to switch polls here. Don't forget to thank your mom for birthing you.
Big shout out, Mama.
Big shout out to my mother.
Mama Lisa, Mama Jamie.
Mama Jamie. I don't know if you're listening or not, but we love that you loved us and birthed us and stuff.
Yeah, brought us into this world. We wouldn't be doing this without you.
Yeah, so happy Mother's Day to you.
Yeah, we preach outdoors. We preach all that stuff. You know, fishing opener falls on Mother's Day. That's no excuse to not appreciate your mother. Don't overlook the fact that it is the day that, you know, if you didn't have a mom, you wouldn't be here. You wouldn't get to fish if you didn't have a mom. So
Go get your mom a rack of flowers. God damn it. Walmart's got a good section.
do something nice.
Take her to brunch, whatever it is. Just do
Take her
something for your
fishing.
mom. Take her fishing. If
Whatever.
she likes fishing, take her fishing. My mom's actually been up my keister about going fishing. You know that? That's fucking wild. My mom has been up my ass about
See, that's the
fishing.
cool thing about moms is, like, at the end of the day, like, they love us.
Yep.
They want to be part of our world, and if that's part of our world, they want to be a part of that.
Yep.
You know, and
Well, my mom grew up fishing with my great grandpa.
yeah,
And like took her ice fishing, took her fishing,
sure.
open water, everything. And so she's like, and my dad isn't a huge fisherman. And so she's like, Ty, can you just take me fishing?
Well, God, do we take Mama Jamie out fishing on Saturday?
Fuck, I don't care.
I don't think my mom would enjoy it, but we could do something.
Let's do it. I think she'd love it. She'd be in heaven. Even if we just invited her out about halfway through, I'll let her know.
We can go pick her up at the landing.
Yep. And just be like, all right, get on a boat. Let's go fishing. Let's
Yeah.
do some fishing.
Yeah.
She caught one of the bigger walleye over on the bay in Waterville. I think it is Tatanka.
Yeah.
It's that little bay in
Not
between.
Tatanka. Tatushka.
Tatushka. We're from Russia. She, back when we were kids, caught like a record walleye.
Almost.
It was either a record or right there.
I
after
think it was
record.
just shy, if I remember right.
And she was in the paper and everything.
Maybe she could teach us something.
And then we cooked it up and ate it for like.
Oh, you animals.
We cooked it
You
up for
animals.
We cooked it up for like a family dinner though.
Yeah. Big
So
enough
it's
to
cool.
feed the whole fam bam.
Yeah, it was really cool.
That's
and
funny.
so my mom still to this day has since outfished me.
Yeah.
So I got to break that.
Well, what better day to do it on her day?
Yeah, right. Just be like,
Look at this. I know more than you, Mom.
yeah, sucker.
Yeah, take that.
I was really young when she caught that, but no, don't forget your freaking mom.
Yeah.
We
We love you, moms.
do. We love the MILFs.
Shout out, moms, if you're listening.
We're cresting into 2 hours here.
That's wild.
We missed out on the gear of the week.
Let's just hit it quick.
Okay.
Hit it and be done. We're gonna go back to some live scope stuff.
Yeah.
Which, you know how we feel about live scope. We're not gonna get into it deep.
Nope.
We're building something cool, and that's gonna be the gear of the week.
We rigged up a unit on the boats. Actually, 2 different boats. Big shout out to Andy because he's got that. He actually is very creative.
Yeah, and I knew it from the get go. I didn't even know that this was an option. I had stumbled upon a live scope pole that had a gearbox, and this is kind of where it all started. Was we were going to create a stationary handle system that would rotate based on the gearbox, and he took it one step further, like usual.
Yep.
And we rigged up a motor on it.
So we have an electronic motorized system essentially that goes down to your live scope transducer.
Yep.
And so he can push a button on a little remote and this thing will rotate whatever direction. And so you can be wherever you're at in the boat. If you got a screen in front of you that's reading the live scope, you can pan out and pan around you just by a push of a button.
Because if you guys are familiar with live scope, the traditional pole system is awesome from an ice fishing standpoint. It's functional. It does its job. But when you're in a boat and you have to turn the live scope a full 180 degrees, your handle is out and away from the boat, which is extremely inconvenient, right? Like you're hanging over the edge of the boat to rotate it around 180 degrees. It's just not great. And, you know, maybe you don't use it that often, 180 degrees, but there's a time and a place for it. And to be quite frank, anytime you have to get up out of your seat or step away from your screen to turn your pole, it's less than convenient.
Right.
And that's why I was thinking, you know, maybe you had an extension pole with a gearbox and you can turn it from exactly where you're sitting and you can turn it a full 360 degrees. And we just took it a step further.
And it was great. I will tell you, there was a lot of trial and error.
Oh, yeah.
We were giving some, as far as electrical goes, we were giving some negative feedback leads.
The whole boat was
lit up.
It was live current through the whole boat for a hot minute.
Yeah, we ended up figuring out what it was, and
we smoked the ground on the
motor. Yeah,
that thing lit up like a cherry, melted right through the freaking casing of the motor.
Yeah, and so it was a huge learning curve, but we eventually got it figured out, and just now it's freaking amazing. It's
brilliant. And I will say there is something that exists out there already. There's other smart people in this world that have already made something. But we went straight to Amazon.
Well, and we're also talking $1,000 versus
a $30 motor and a handful of scrap material. You know,
Yeah.
it's just shit we had laying around already, which is crazy.
And now it's fixed on the boat, and it works well. And
my favorite part is Andy's got the prototype, and I get V2. I get the version 2.
which should be better than
It should
version
be a little
1.
better. And so Andy fixed his on the back of the boat, which I think is fully functional all the same. I actually put mine on a sliding rail mount. So Shifty's in the process of fabbing all that stuff together right now. But in that sense, pending you have a long enough cord and everything, you can move it anywhere on the boat.
Perfect.
Which I like. The downfall with that is you have to take it off to put your cover on your boat, your travel cover, all that stuff. Andy doesn't have to do that, which is convenient. But I like, for my situation, being able to put it in different places.
In the realistic standpoint of things, because you have so much gear on your boat, though, with your god damn it, now the words escaping me, the trolling motor.
Yeah.
God damn it.
Words.
Why the fact that words? But with your trolling motor and everything, realistically, you don't have to move it. You
Probably
don't have to
not.
move it because
No.
you're going to spin the boat around.
But I will say, like, in a hypothetical standpoint, and this is how I always think, if I have someone fishing for big pike and they're up on the front of the boat, I want to put that transducer as close to the bow of the boat as humanly possible. Sure, I'll sit back on the transom, but I'll be looking at a screen, and I can tell that person, hey, you're up here casting, cast 45 degrees off the front of the boat, or whatever it may be. You know what I mean? Like, I can pinpoint somebody onto a big pike.
Realistically, though, I mean, what is... You're talking a 10-foot difference.
Sure, but it matters.
Does it?
It does. It does, because your angle changes so much. Because the angle from where I'm sitting on the back of the boat, where the tiller handle is, if I had that there, it looks like it's 18 degrees. Well, for somebody who's on the bow of the boat, it's actually 33 degrees.
Okay, fair enough.
So when you're telling somebody, okay, this is where I'm looking, but they're way up here 18 feet away from me.
Well, And I'm just steel manning you at this point. I'm just devil's advocate for.
And I think my thing is too is like when you have a directional indicator on the pole, which we will have, that person can look down at their feet, look where that pole is pointing, and try to make as accurate casts as they can, right?
Did you decide to put a screen up there or not?
No screen up there.
It's unfair to the fishermen.
Yeah, well, it just is what it is.
I'm just
It
kidding.
is what it is. I'm not gonna
totally
like
kidding.
it when I'm bass fishing. I already know I'm not. I'm gonna want screens up there. It's not tangible for the majority of the fishing that I'm going to be doing up there. Yes, it would be convenient when I'm fishing certain types of ways, and when I'm fishing back here, I just don't know if it makes sense to do it. The way that you would have to wire it is more work than it's worth for what you're going to be using it for 90% of the time.
I don't know. I don't think it's that hard to wire it. I think you're just demeaning your clients a little bit.
I don't know if that's what it is.
I just think you don't care enough.
Well, I guess at the end of the day, if we find out this year that people would have used it more often, then we come back and we wire it this winter.
I just vote we wire it now. I would just buy 6 more screens. No, I'm kidding.
3 screens on the back, 3 screens on the front.
Yep.
What's money?
Yeah. Fuck
Who
it.
cares?
Can't take it with you.
Yeah. Fuck it. Maybe I'll make enough money this year and I'll be able to afford to do it.
I think so.
I hope so. I don't know. We booked another group tonight, and they said they were interested in at least a half day.
Fuck yeah.
Andy thinks I'm going to be running almost every day.
Well, I hope so.
I hope so too.
I do. I really sincerely do. I hope you are. I hope you get sick
That's
of
wild
fishing.
to think about.
I hope you get...
Don't you say that to me.
Nope.
No.
Nope. I hope
You mean that as a friend?
I do.
You hope I get sick of fishing.
Nope. I hope you run it so often that you're
Unbelievable.
like, God damn it, this is a job now.
I would rather not make that much money. Never get sick of fishing.
No, I know.
I can't believe you wish that upon me.
I was kidding.
What a co-host here, guys.
You know I'm
Unbelievable.
kidding. You know it's a joke.
Unbelievable.
Fuck you.
Unbelievable.
No, I'm just. It's a little bit of bitterness because I know you're leaving.
Yeah,
So.
salty.
Yeah.
You guys can feel it through the headphones.
Yeah. You can hear it. In there. God damn it. Well, I'm not gonna have much to do anymore.
They said you're welcome whenever you want, Ty.
Yeah, but that's easier said than done.
I
with
know
a
it is, but
full-time
figure it
job.
out.
Unless I just start my own company. Maybe I'll just start my own company.
Start brewing some ideas.
I already got some.
We're cooking.
There you go.
We're cooking. All right, guys. I think that's where we close it, huh?
Yeah, we're gonna close it out. I'm starting my own company.
It's going to be up in Canada 90% of the time.
Yep. And I'm gonna bring my daughter.
Sometimes.
Sarah's gonna have to just get used to watching the daughter.
It's fine.
Yeah, run a daycare center. It's fine.
Okay.
No, appreciate you guys tuning in again. Apologize once again for the week missed. We're back. We should be in full flow. There might be just a little bit of a hiccup in.
I don't think there'll be a hiccup. I think it'll be fine.
I don't think it's going to be a huge deal. It's more or less just a learning curve.
Yeah, we're just going to have to adjust.
Because we're going to be apart up in Canada. Well, Max is up in Canada, and I'm still here in Minnesota doing what normal people do as a job. But it's fine that you get to do a cool thing. But
That tastes salty.
yeah, weird. No.
Huh, I feel my arteries hardening.
It's crazy. I don't know why. No. Again,
I am
appreciate
parched.
you guys.
My mouth is dry.
We're gonna be apart probably. Well, we have one more podcast.
We'll
I
get
think,
one more together for sure.
together in person, and then we're just gonna figure it out from there. So bear with us here, guys. We're gonna keep bringing you whatever content you guys like.
And I actually think this is where it has the potential to get even better.
Yeah, I think so too.
Because now we have this potential of bringing people in and having more guests and more frequent stories. You know, while we're down here, we're busy. We're crazy. Like, it's just crazy life busy. And now half of that life picture is going to be exactly what we talk about on this. And we should have significantly more content. We should have more people. Like, this might be where it gets really fun.
I agree. I think it
And
could.
even though we're going to be apart,
It's going to be weird, folks. It will. We're not going to have...
oh God, he's going to cry.
I'm not going to cry. No.
He's crying.
No, I just am... I love what we got going. And
Yeah,
so
it's bittersweet.
It is. It's hard to see it go. So
The next one's going to be a tear fest.
next one might actually be a little more emotional. But till next time, we love you guys.
We appreciate you.
ya.
We love you.
And we'll see you next time. Keep giving us that feedback. Go ahead and check out episode number 10. Make sure you're checking that out because we've got a little something in there. We have all the instructions for you.
Yeah.
You can win something cool.
If you happen to be listening to this one before you've listened to 10,
Go back to 10.
go back to 10,
Listen to it.
follow the instructions.
Yep.
We
because
wanna-
we got a little giveaway going on, and we wanna give back to the fans. So do it. I don't care how much it hurts. Bless you.
Thank you.
And
Bless you guys. That was a bless you to our
yeah,
fans.
bless
and
you to
followers.
everybody. If you sneeze at the same time, you might have better odds. I don't
Yeah.
know.
Yeah.
Who knows? No, go back to episode number 10. Listen in.
Yeah, throw your hat in the ring.
Yep. And get in on this giveaway. Like, share, comment. And we will see you guys next week.
We out.
Appreciate it. Peace.
Adios.